Good morning. See, you have a fur baby with you as well. I have my dog on the couch over here. Uh, so welcome. So my name is Elizabeth. If you would like to share where you're from or um, anything perhaps that you would like to share about yourself. But today we will be doing some restorative poses. We'll get into a really gentle vinyasa towards the end, but mostly you'll just need your mat space. If you do have a space by your wall to put your legs up the wall, you can do so. But if not, you can also just invert with your legs, just up in the air. So it'll be up to you. But if you do have that space, it's kind of nice. Um, all right, well, let's get started. Okay. Also, since we are going to be on our mats for the whole class session, you can keep your socks on. We won't be gripping. And the only reason I say that, I'm up in northern Minnesota, so it's kind of cold here. So I like to stay a little bit warm if I can. How's my sound? Is my sound pretty good? Yeah? Okay. All right. Awesome. All right. So just coming to a comfortable seated position on your mat. Also, if you have some tools that you would like to use, a bolster, blocks, a strap, I'll give a few cues on how we can use those today if you would like, but they're not necessary if you don't need them. So coming to a comfortable seated position on your mat, feeling where your sits bones make contact with the mat. Just bringing your awareness to your breath, perhaps closing your eyes or softening your gaze towards the floor. Sitting up nice and tall. Just notice what your breath feels like on your inhale. And your exhale, just the natural rhythm of your breath. And then gently opening your eyes. We'll start with a breathing exercise called belly breathing. So I will invite you to bring your hands and just gently placing them on your belly. So for this breathing exercise, we'll imagine that our bellies are like a balloon. And as we inhale, we fill up that balloon, we feel our belly extend. And our exhale, we feel that balloon deflate. So on your inhale, belly expands like a balloon. Exhale, the balloon deflates. Inhale, belly expands. Exhale, belly deflates. Inhale, belly expands. Exhale, belly deflates. A few more times like this. Inhale, feel that belly expand. Exhale, feel that belly deflate like a balloon. One more time. Inhale. And exhale. And if you're just coming to us now, all you'll need for this practice is your mat space. I will do an inversion just with your legs up in the air, up against the wall. So if you do have a wall space, just be maybe thinking about that when we get there. But we'll continue with our breathing exercises. So the next breathing exercise that I wanted to introduce is just focusing on our side breathing and focusing on the space that that opens up as we inhale and then exhale. So for this practice, bringing your left hand and crossing it over your chest or bringing it fully over your body. So you decide where you want to place your arm. And on your inhale, just focus on that expansion on your left side body. And then exhale. Inhale, feel that expansion again. And exhale. Now let's bring your hand down if you would like to. Inhale, feel that expansion, feel that space. And exhale. Just continuing at your own pace, feeling that expansion on your inhale. And exhale. One more time on this side. And bring your hands back to neutral. We'll do the same thing on our other side. So bringing your right hand and crossing it over your body or down to your chest, whichever feels comfortable. And on your inhale, feeling that expansion on your right side body. And exhale, continuing to breathe in this way. Inhale, feel that expansion on your right side body. One more time. And coming back to neutral. Okay, so we will begin with a forward fold. And I was explaining a little bit earlier, I think before a few of you folks came on, that this practice is mostly going to be a restorative practice. We will get into one really gentle vinyasa towards the end, but I also wanted to just identify some diabetes prevention benefits that yoga can have. And a few of those benefits are just your reduction of stress. And as we reduce stress, we reduce our blood pressure, we reduce our blood sugar, increase circulation, and a pose like this one, when we do our forward fold, we're stimulating our abdominal organs. So many different benefits, but just in general, just good for our bodies as well. So sitting up nice and tall with your feet outstretched in front of you. If you would like to use your yoga strap, if you have one, please do so. So inhale, bring your arms overhead. Exhale, forward fold with a flat back. Coming into your forward fold for the first time, just a gentle forward fold. And if you would like to use your yoga strap, just bringing it to your feet and holding it loosely. Inhale, feel an expansion, then exhale, come down a little bit deeper. Again, inhale, and then exhale, just slightly deeper into that stretch. You'll probably feel that abdominal area getting compressed, and our organs are getting stimulated there as we do so. Inhale, and then exhale, just coming down slightly farther into the stretch, feeling that good stretch in your hamstrings. And just staying here for a few more breaths on your own, however you would like to keep your arms. On your next inhale, slowly coming up to seated. You're doing a few shoulder rolls to the back and the front. Okay. So for our next pose, we will do a side twist. So bringing your left leg in onto the floor, and then bring your right leg and cross it over your left knee. Or if that's not, that flexibility is not there, just crossing it right in front of your body. But if you're able, crossing it over that left knee. Hello. Hello. All right, so on your inhale, bring your opposite arm. Left arm comes up, and on your exhale, twisting to the left and just hooking your body, hugging your right knee into your body, sitting up nice and tall. Right arm comes behind, fingertips pressed, just to give you a little bit more stability. Feeling that connection to the earth, to your mat, perhaps, to the ground. And on every inhale, just extend your spine up just a little bit taller, and then gently coming into that twist just a little bit more. Just a gentle twist. Feeling your right hip flexor, perhaps. And just breathing into the stretch, bringing that intentional breath to whatever part of your body feels like it needs a little bit of attention in this stretch. On your next inhale, coming back to neutral. Just spending a few moments here in neutral position before we go into our other side. And then we'll bring our right leg down, cross it in front of our body, laying it down on the mat. And then bring your left leg, crossing it over your right, or just bringing it in front of your body, but making sure it's propped up. Sitting up nice and tall, bring your right arm up into the air on your inhale. And then exhale, twisting, hugging that left knee into your body, bringing your left fingertips, and just propping them up behind you, making connection with the ground behind you. Looking good, guys. And on every inhale, just extending that top of your head up a little bit higher, and then twisting a little bit more to the left on every exhale. Just a gentle twist. And intentionally breathing into the parts of your body that are getting some work. I feel it in my hip flexor on my left side. And just breathing into that space. And on your inhale, bring your left arm up in front of you, back to neutral. Hands to heart center, coming into a comfortable seated position. Okay, so next we will do our inversion where we're either bringing our legs and legs up the wall, or you can just bring your legs up into the air as you lay down on your mat. So I'll show you first what that looks like without using a wall, just in case you don't have a wall space. I'm sharing my mat today. So I'll show you from here. If you're just laying down on your mat, slowly coming down vertebrae by vertebrae. And then just like described, just bringing your legs up into the air like so. And just stay there. But if you do have a wall space, it does feel kind of nice to have a wall space to use. And one of the best ways that I know how to get all the way up to my wall is coming sideways to your wall space. Then as you lay down, vertebrae by vertebrae, slowly twisting your body, or scooching your body, I should say, to where your bottom is all the way up to the wall. And then bringing your legs up the wall. And they can be a little bit bent if you need to, or straight, whatever feels good. And we'll stay here for about 3 minutes. I'm going to get my timer out. And you can actually, for this leg up the wall pose, you can stay in this pose for up to like 15, 20 minutes to get the full benefits of circulation and whatnot. But we'll just stay here for about 3 minutes today. Okay. This is such a good pose for circulation, among other things, but as I identified in our diabetes prevention benefits list of things that it's good for, one of the things that happens often is that circulation down to our feet and our legs. Some people can get a little bit of swelling down in that area, so this is so good to reverse the natural way that gravity that we're standing or sitting throughout the day. It's a really good relaxing pose as well. While you're here, if you would like to, you can maybe gently place your hands on your belly and just hands out to your sides. It's also a good opportunity for us to give ourselves to rest and rebuild and just slow down. We have about 1 more minute in this pose. If at any point in time you do feel like you need to come out of a pose, you can. This practice is yours. It's personal to what your needs are. All right. So slowly coming out of your pose, coming down a similar fashion that you came up in it, just scooching yourself sideways. And then when you can make contact with the floor, just maybe rolling over. And just remaining here for a breath in your fetal position. And pressing yourself up to seated. Coming back to our mat. Okay. So next we'll come into either butterfly pose or gentle pose. So for this pose, we bring the soles of our feet together. And just let our knees come out. Maybe just shake them a few times, or you can bring your blocks if you have blocks, if you want to have a little extra support. But you can also do this pose in a reclined position. So if you would like to stay seated up, you can, sitting up. I like to do this one, laying down. Put the soles of your feet together, Again, just shaking your knees out, settling into the pose. This is so nice for our hips. Our hips are often a place where we store trauma, and so just giving ourselves a little extra attention and perhaps even releasing that trauma. Again, intentionally breathing into the spaces that feel like they need a little extra attention. Perhaps your hips or any part of your body in this pose. Okay, so slowly coming out of this pose, bringing your knees up, just propping them up. And we can again roll over to our sides to come back up to seated. Remaining here in fetal position for a breath, and then maybe pressing your body up. Okay, so coming to your hands and knees. We'll get into a really gentle movement here. So hands and knees, tabletop position, hands directly underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips. We'll do a few cat-cows here. So inhale, come into your cat position, arching your back like a cat. And exhale, coming into your cow. Do this a few times. If you feel like you need some movement to the sides, just swaying your hips from side to side, making this movement your own. And one more time. And we'll come into child's pose. So bringing your knees about mat width distance apart, your big toes are touching behind you. And then slowly sitting back. And if this ever becomes kind of too much for your legs, if you're not able to, you can always bring a pillow or a bolster behind you. Just prop it up behind you. And extending those arms in front of you. Getting that nice expansion in your upper back. Feeling the stretch. Just settling in. On your next inhale, pressing back up to tabletop. And bringing your hands are directly underneath your shoulders here in tabletop, but just bringing your hands one hand width in front, and then slowly coming into a modified plank. Your hands are directly underneath your shoulders again, and then slowly lowering down, all the way down to your mat. Slowly. And then we'll come into Sphinx pose. I'm gonna get my mat, or sorry, my bolster, so I can show you how you could use your bolster if you would like. So as you're down on your mat, coming into Sphinx. In Sphinx, our elbows are directly underneath our shoulders. Our hands are just outstretched in front of us. And if we would like to use our bolster, you could. It gives a different feeling in this pose. So we'll stay here for 2 breaths. In our Sphinx pose, gazes in front of us. And then slowly bring your hands back to underneath your shoulders, pressing back up to your modified plank. Back is nice and straight line all the way from your knees to your head. And pressing back to child's pose. Knees come back out wide if you would like. Toes touching behind you, arms outstretched. Coming back up to tabletop. Knees back underneath your hips, hands underneath your shoulders. And then again, to come into our plank, we bring our hands, one hand up in front of us, and sinking our body into our plank position, straight line all the way from our knees to our head, and then slowly lowering back down, all the way down to our mat. And this time we'll come into baby cobra. So for baby cobra, our hands are staying underneath our shoulders, and we press. The movement, our intention is to use our back muscles to lift our body up. So we can press with our hands a little bit, but the majority of that movement is coming from our lower back muscles. So on 3, we'll go up. 1, 2, 3, lifting our body up. Baby cobra. Staying here, nice and strong. Keeping our elbows tucked into our body. And coming back down, head comes down to the mat. Or onto your cheek, one way or the other, right or left side. And bring your hands back underneath your shoulders. We'll press back up to high plank, modified plank. Body's in a straight line, engaging our core. And pressing back to child's pose, winding the knees, toes come together, sinking back, arms outstretched, palms facing down to the mat. Feeling that expansion in our upper body. And for our last vinyasa, coming back to tabletop, knees underneath our hips, hands underneath our shoulders. And again, bring your hands, one hand up and sinking down into our high plank. Body's in a straight line. Slowly lowering all the way down to the mat. And this time, we'll come into either up dog, or you can come into baby cobra. So you decide what feels good to you. So if we come all the way up to up dog, again, bringing your hands directly underneath your shoulders. Inhale, on your exhale, press all the way up. See if that's there for you to get to. And if it is, wonderful, just stay here for a breath. If not, come into your baby cobra again. Feeling that lower back this time, get a wonderful stretch. And slowly lower back down, perhaps onto your forehead or the other cheek. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders, pressing back up to high plank. Body's in a straight line, engaging that core. And pressing back to child's pose one last time. Bring your knees out wide. And this time when you come into child's pose, toes touching, we'll try a different placement of our arms. So instead of having your arms outstretched in front of us, you can either bring your arms to your sides and just see how that feels, or you can even give yourself a little hug. Just place them behind your head, kind of closing that circle of energy. Almost feels like a self-hug, protecting ourselves, giving ourselves a little extra nurturing. And when you're ready, pressing back up to tabletop. And we'll come to seated, and we'll actually come all the way back to our backs. So however you would like to get onto your backs. I like to prop my legs out in front of me, then slowly lower, engaging my core. All the way down to your mats. Legs outstretched underneath you, arms at your sides. We'll do a few more stretches here. So first, bringing your right leg up, interlocking your fingers underneath your knee, and just gently bringing your leg into your body. This is a really good stretch for massaging those digestive organs. You can add a ankle roll if you would like, rolling your ankle to the right. Continuing to breathe, maybe rolling your ankle to the left. And slowly lowering the right leg and then bringing your left leg into your body. Interlocking your fingers right underneath your knee and just gently bringing it into your body. Breathing. Doing some more ankle rolls. One direction. And the other. And releasing this leg. And we'll actually keep it propped up. Bringing your right leg and crossing it over your left at the ankle. Engaging or flexing your toe to protect your knee. We'll come into a figure four stretch in this reclined position. So if you open your hips up, open your right knee up, keeping your foot flexed, and you feel that stretch on your right hip flexor here, just remain here. If you would like a little deeper stretch, threading the needle with your hands coming through and pulling your left knee into your body. Remember to keep that foot flexed to protect your right knee. And just get to that sweet spot where you're working your body and getting a good stretch. And when you're ready, keeping your legs crossed over your body like so. Bring your arms out to a T, palms facing up. And we'll slowly lower our legs to the left. And as we do so, our gaze comes out to the right. And our intention will be to keep our shoulders up against the mat, and the rotation is coming from our lower body, getting that stretch in our lower spine, maybe in our hips. So gaze to the right, legs to the left. We'll remain here for a couple breaths. And slowly bring your body back to neutral. Legs neutral. Maybe just shake your legs out for a moment. And then this time crossing your left leg over your right and flexing that left foot. So you're protecting your knee as you open up your hip, feeling that hip flexor stretch. You just gently press on it here on your left side, or you can thread the needle, interlocking your fingers behind your right knee and pulling it into your body, getting a little deeper stretch. So you decide where that stretch is going to be for you, and making sure you're flexing your left toe so you're protecting your left knee. Then slowly, releasing your right knee if your hands were interlocked behind it. And then dropping your legs to the right. Your gaze comes to the left with your arms outstretched on either side. And your intention is to do your best to keep your shoulders flush up against the mat, and the rotation, the movement is coming from the bottom part of your body, from your lower spine and your hip. Gaze to the left if you can, legs to the right. Stay here for a couple breaths. Slowly coming back to neutral, legs back to neutral in front of you. And we'll outstretch our legs all the way down. Arms come to our sides. We'll come into our final resting pose, Savasana. So getting comfortable. If you have a bolster, maybe putting it under your knees if you would like. Maybe putting a jacket or blanket over you. Stay warm. Shavasana is such a wonderful pose at the end of our practice to give our body that opportunity to rest and rebuild. For today, we will do a body scan in our Shavasana. Starting with the top of our heads, focusing on this part of our body. Breathing into this part of our body. On every exhale, just releasing any tension from the top of our head down to our face, our eye sockets, our jaw, breathing into this space. On your exhale, just letting go of any stress or tension you might be holding on to. Maybe our jaw, maybe our eyes. Traveling down our neck to our shoulders, breathing into the space. As we exhale, just letting go of any tension or stress. And traveling down our arms, our biceps to our elbows, all the way down our forearms, into our hands, intentionally breathing into those spaces, letting them be soft. Perhaps as we exhale, just letting go. And traveling down our upper torso, the middle torso, and to our lower torso, just breathing into that whole space, letting go of any tension that might still be holding on to in those spaces. And down to our hips, letting our hips be soft. As we breathe intentionally into that space, as we exhale, perhaps just letting go of any tension in our hips. And traveling down our legs, from our thighs, all the way down to our knees, and our lower legs. As we intentionally breathe into those spaces, and then on our exhale, letting go. And finally down to our feet. Intentionally breathing into the spaces around our feet. As we exhale, letting go of any tension or stress we might still be holding on to. Just taking these last few moments in Shavasana, give attention to any other part of your body that might need it. When you are ready, bringing small movements back to your body, perhaps wiggling your fingers and toes, maybe gently rocking your head from side to side. And gently rolling over to one side or the other. Into a fetal position, perhaps resting your head on your hands for a pillow. Gently pressing your body up to seated. And sitting up nice and tall. Perhaps bringing your hands to heart center and closing out however you would like to. I hadn't introduced myself properly at the beginning, but I'm from the Red Lake Nation of Ojibwe, and one of the ways that we say thank you is we say miigwech. Thank you all for joining me today.